Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we have the NA Friday Night Fights broadcasted by Pratly from Ninth Corps. Appreciate him doing this a lot. We have two great maps here. The first map is Hill's Counterattack, followed up by the Piper's Farm. Two very diverse maps. It's going to be great, exciting. Thank you to our Patreons for the support. If you'd like the support, go beneath the video in the description and hit the link to the Patreon where you can get behind the scenes videos and videos before everyone else. Our teams today on the Confederate side, we have Hood's Division, Hampton's Legion, Shenandoah Regulars, Mississippi Brigade, Pickett's Brigade, Army of Northern Virginia, and the Pennsylvania Army, whereas on the Union side tonight we have the Irish Volunteer Brigade, the Northern Aggression, Sussy Brigade, Ninth Corps, 79th New York Highlanders, and the 83rd Pennsylvania. With that being said, I hope you enjoy.
Hello everyone, it is Colonel Pratly back again with Battle Line Network. Tonight we are on for the Friday night NA event. This is typically a pretty big junior officer event for a lot of regiments out there. First map here we have Hill's Counterattack. With me tonight we have Brutish.
Hello.
And immediately, well, actually not as fast as often is the case. Union actually hung around on spawn for a little bit there. CSA doing kind of the customary thing, moving most of their force up to the left, preparing to attack the hill. Some of their force staying in the middle, probably going to go down the right side. It's typically a game that's played in two halves here.
Yeah, let's see positions. We got Union taking up. We got who's up here in the middle? We got a little bit of Sussy up in the middle. I think IBB is going to be on the right with TNA. And then you have Knife Corps, and I think 59th or somebody like that is going to be on the left side.
And we do have a slight numbers imbalance here. The Union outnumbers CSA by 8 men. Total of 258 players in server right now. CSA with a lot of artillery. 15 guys on artillery for CSA right now. So hopefully, obviously we had Hill's Counterattack played twice on Wednesday for the Battle Line Wednesday event, and we didn't see artillery have much of an impact there. Hopefully we see it be a little more effective here for the CSA.
And we have CSA doing what they normally do with this map, attacking this left side. You got HD and you got PB just moving left.
Yeah, and I like to see this. We spent the entire night on Wednesday lamenting the fact that the CSA never attacked the right side and the Union right, the CSA left, and how unfortunate that was because it is a really key part of the map. But we're seeing them push that way here certainly. And look at this, we've already got who is this PBHL pushing a little bit through the middle of the field onto these rocks. I will say it's not a bad position, but you can get shot pretty heavily from your left from the Union position on that straight rail.
I mean, they pretty much give it up the CSA right, Union left. I mean, they have some people in the road, but if Union wanted to push up far left on the snake rail, they could.
Yeah, which is very interesting. It's usually you see Union spread out as they have with some groups in the core and some groups on the hill, and they've done that here. But CSA is not playing into that right now because CSA is putting everyone on top of the hill, and I think maybe they were watching our broadcast on Wednesday and hearing us talk about how important it was to just take the hill with a big force early on and secure that position.
And that's exactly what they're trying to do. HD's moving up to the bush, which is usually a good area of concealment before you get ready for a big charge, so.
Will Union form out into line here to meet them? They're not yet. Does give those CSA guys some shots straight down the side of them on that fence line. HD about to volley. Nice volley from HD. I don't know how many guys it dropped, but it was a nice crisp volley.
Doesn't really matter how many people you drop, just how good it looks.
Oh, for sure. And we're seeing already Union dropping on tickets just a little bit. You know, it's not a lot yet, but if they're dropping already from just this shooting phase, it's a little worrying so quick.
I think it's just this sheer amount of guns from CSA on the left that they're just overpowering this Union group.
Look at this group on the rocks, though. Look at the number of bodies around here. CSA got torn up on those rocks there, and they're pulling back to the left side of the fence line now. Gradually, it looks like they're going to be doing some sort of a fire and advance maneuver here. This line is getting bigger and bigger on the left side of the fence, shooting into the Union position.
I wonder if Union knows how big this group is on the right. I mean, it's pretty much the entire CSA team from maybe, one or two regiments?
Well, so I will say I was surprised at how many Union guys were sitting off on the left. It looks like all of Ninth Corps is over here, and TNA, some of TNA as well. I will say now the CSA has moved one group off onto this right side for the CSA. PA is over here with some of AMV. It's not as big a group as the Union have, certainly, but it does at least keep that group for Union tied down so they can't go help out on the hill. Union definitely dropping on tickets. Not super fast, but I could see them within the next, 6 minutes or so at this pace, dropping down to engage, which would be pretty early to be engaged, to be honest.
Yeah, and I don't really think you do anything different here if you're Union. I mean, you can't give up this hill. And
yeah, although, that being said, we've often seen Union play from back on this snake fence here. It's out of bounds for the CSA. It gives you a little bit better cover from those shots coming down the hill, and it also allows you to pull back up the hill if necessary to try and force the CSA to capture the point. Obviously, we've seen that overtime is much less of a thing now, so I'm not sure that's really what the Union is going to want, but it is an option there. And I'm surprised that they're not exploring that at all, and they seem willing to just trade shots here, because the CSA is taking good shots on them right now, and you can see how quickly the Union tickets are dropping.
And not a lot of CSA guys dropping here. Not a lot of bodies on the ground aside from that big group of the rocks. But other than that, not a lot of CSA casualties.
Yeah, a few mounting up in the field here. I don't think Union's majorly firing on them yet, because most of their line until now has stayed on the straight fence, and I don't really know what they're firing. I think they're firing on the group all the way on the far side of the field here on these snake fences and bushes. CSA is doing what we typically see with the guns here, moving them into the open field so they have a little bit of a rise and they can basically shoot over the entire field unimpeded. And we've got one gun shooting onto that right side. I'm not entirely certain what it's shooting at. I haven't seen a major hit there. I do see smoke way behind the Union, so that was a very mistimed fuse there. But clearly they're shooting for this 9th Corps group on the fence.
Seems like they're trying to get 3 guns on this.
Oh, charge
CSA,
happening!
right?
Charge happening on the hill finally. In goes CSA. Let's see what happens here. MB went in a little early, but HD coming around the right side. That should be very effective. That looks very effective to me. That looks like Union lost a lot of guys. I do like this second line they formed here, the 59th New York guys lining up behind the initial charge to get in a second round of shots, but the initial Union group has been well and truly wiped there.
We'll see if 59th gets in there.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to hold strong behind, knowing that the enemies probably use their shots and just blast into them. And, they've caught up a little bit there. They dropped on tickets very quickly, and then they caught up a little bit. And now the HL guys actually are retreating. It looks like all the CSA guys are retreating out of there.
Yeah, if I'm Union, I'm very happy with that charge. You didn't lose the hill, and you kind of caught back up a little bit.
Yeah, but then again, I think CSA pulled the charge off very well in terms of wiping the initial front group of Union and getting a big ticket drop. And even if this Union did catch up a little bit after the initial ticket drop, you can see on that top there that Union is very close to engaged already, and we're at 36 minutes where, if you're on pace to go last stand by the very end of the game, you drop a morale state every 15 minutes. Right now, Union's certainly going to go engaged before 15 minutes are up.
Something to also point out, unbalance has also went up significantly since the start of the map.
Yeah, 142 to 125. So Union has the manpower advantage, and even more so because they are without artillery, and CSA has 15 odd guys on artillery. So it's actually, in terms of infantry numbers, it's 142 to 120-ish, 115. So Union should be winning pretty significantly in those melees, I would think.
Seems like Union's pushing out right on the hill. They're going past the win line now.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting a little aggressive.
That is surprising because they are going to get blasted by the CSA guys back on this fence line here. I can't see that going well for the Union. I can see CSA picking up a lot of tickets here.
And volley's about to go down.
A lot of them are still loading. I think they came up here maybe with bayonets only from spawn, but they still get some good shots off, force the Union to retreat back, and they're going to be shooting at them all the way. Artillery starting to fire again. Still not seeing where it's really hitting. I'm seeing one pile of smoke on this extreme right on these rocks, although the smoke may have drifted off of its original target. These guns are now shooting from the field. I would think... Well, one of the guns, I believe, shot the hill right in front of itself and possibly TK'd itself.
Highly effective.
I think, yeah, a Union group has switched sides here. I'm not sure which one, but a Union group has definitely switched sides here because we're back at 133, 135.
Maybe an MB. I'm trying to find out, but interesting.
And until there's another major charge, I'm going to actually sit and watch these guns for a second and see what we can get here in terms of targets. I do think they're shooting at the group on the edge of the cornfield, which is probably the most juicy shots right now.
Hey, yeah, updates on the hill. It seems like Union's falling back on their side of the hill towards Snake Rail, and CSA still on their side on their fence as well. So it seems like both sides playing a little conservative, regrouping.
Although CSA is starting to move up again, it looks like they're going to take those positions they had before that charge enveloped.
They get back on those rocks too. Oh, they're backing up.
That artillery shot was aimed at this small group of skirmishers here on the extreme right from CSA point of view. They killed one or two for sure, but I don't think they killed a whole lot of them. And that's not the kind of target-rich environment you would expect them to be shooting at. You'd expect them to be shooting at the main lines of Union. And
Well,
right
one just
now,
bounced a little short.
yeah, the fuse timing has not quite been dialed in yet. We saw a shot land a little short there. We've seen a couple shots land way long. So, you know, they are dialing in slowly but surely to Ninth Corps' position.
It always takes a second to get it perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta say, CSA looks like they now have this Union group pretty outnumbered here, I would say. It's IVB in the front, the sussy guys are behind them. I wonder if IVB will pull back to that snake fence if Union looks, or CSA looks like they're going to charge them again, because it's just quite a tenuous position that you hold on this hill. It's very easy to get charged, and by the time you see them, they're already through the bushes and very close range with you. And CSA, to me, seems very happy to play this a little slow. Yep, there they go, engaged. And that would be why they're happy to play it slow, because they are winning on tickets.
You just don't want to play it too slow before you know you're just out of time.
And I gotta say, I'm not a fan right now of how many small skirmishing groups the Union has out, because although, you know, they can get some decent tickets, they are shooting at the artillery guys right now, and I think they're picking off a few of them here and there. You know, all it takes is one artillery round and you lose five skirmishing tickets. Or, you know,
So
the CSA
have,
group who's in the middle is big enough that they could charge those skirmishing groups and wipe them out wholesale.
I do feel like there's enough Union on the Union left to be able to take out these groups of CSA on the left, but I just don't think they see that.
CSA looks like they're starting to advance again on the hill. Looks like they're gonna be moving in. I don't think they're full charging yet. It looks like they're slowly advancing after each volley. I gotta say, for CSA, they've played this well so far. I think that initial charge was very good. I think they got some decent shots, but I think they need to not let the momentum get away from them here. I think they've let themselves shoot this out for 4 or 5 minutes now. I think they should be getting in the Union's face again and continuing that ticket bar going down.
Seems like this group A and V, they're moving to CSA right, to the far right snake rail, trying to push those skirmishers back to protect Artie.
Yeah, exactly. Protecting Artie partially, but also, I mean, it's easy skirmishing tickets for them.
And Dive Corps also moving out to the from the left side to the right. They're moving up the hill towards their spawn.
Yeah, it looks like they're just looping around to try and avoid... No, they're going behind the rocks. And I gotta say, that is a mistake, I think, from Scrumpling, who's leading the 9th Corps tonight, because those rocks are an absolute magnet for CSA artillery. I mean, those artillery guns love to get shots into the Union spawn, and the easiest spot to hit is the rocks. You know, if you're going to go up high on the hill, you got to get in the defilade cover actually behind the hill, not on the rocks on the face of the hill, because that's just a surefire way to get hit by Artie sooner or later. Will this AMV group charge? Yep, they are charging right now. As soon as I said it, they're charging the TNA skirmishers out here. And if they've done the smart thing, they will have held their shots and they'll shoot them in the back as they run away.
So many kills you get off of this, though. Could just be there to push them off.
And you've got this group sitting in the open as well, the 79th New York guys in the open. They're just going to get shredded here. There's like 10 guys going to be shooting at them, and they're just crouching there with no cover at all. Somehow, none of them have been hit by those shots yet. No, don't move into the fence. You got to get out of there, guys. You are heavily outnumbered in that fight, and it's a really good way to lose tickets as a defender. No, they're charging them.
CSA is moving up the hill now.
Yeah, and this Union skirmishing group gets completely wiped, and that was 15 tickets there from those 3 guys charging. But here we go on the hill, the big action coming into the fight again. It looks like CSA is not going to charge. They're going to hold up at this first set of bushes and just exchange point-blank range shots here. This is pretty brutal stuff. Now, does CSA get 42s on this?
I know bottom regiment doesn't.
I don't think they have 42s.
I don't think so.
Because if they had buck and ball at this range, this is certainly within the full kill range. And this is a pretty brutal firefight right now. I mean, they're just point-blank range blasting into each other. Hard to tell who's coming out on top right now. Union have a pile of corpses here, but I think CSA have just as many on their side. I think CSA outnumbers the Union group here. The difference is Union has this group on the left side of the fence, though, who's going to be helping put shots in from a different angle when using that defilade cover.
Yeah, we also have another charge going down the far left as well. We have a group of Union, I think, about to get wiped out.
Yeah. Looks like yeah, they are going to get wiped. Yep.
But I think knife course, but they go into them.
Again, it's the issue with these skirmishing groups. All it takes is a group to be brave enough to just charge in through the fire, and you lose a whole ton of skirmish tickets, which are worth 3 to 5 each. I mean, the Union gets a couple of out-of-line tickets at the end of that charge. Vlad, don't run out there. There's guys waiting for you.
Get him, Vlad.
He turns around. Good man. Yeah, you know, and those 2 charges cost the Union a lot of tickets, just losing guys out of line and skirmishing there. But,
definitely a lot more than it costs CSA. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And this fight here, still ongoing, still just a point-blank range firefight. Now, this is some real Civil War action right here. Standing, what, 30, 40 yards from each other and just blasting. And look at the amount of bodies here for the CSA, and I'm imagining when I go over to Union, it's not going to look all that different. It certainly doesn't.
It's worse.
That is real brutal, and you know, you got to say that plays really hard into the CSA's hands, because the CSA is the attacker, they have the ticket advantage, and now CSA's charging.
I mean, we'll see where we are after this charge. Right?
I think the Union group on the right side is going to get wiped. I believe. I think they're going to get. No, maybe not actually.
It depends.
The CSA were a little strung out there, and Union has 3 pistols in that fight, and I don't see any CSA pistols in there.
Yeah, I think CSA is getting wiped right now.
Yeah, they are. They are, and actually look at the tickets. They're dropping on tickets during that charge. That has been a slightly unproductive charge for them. I think they were better just allowing themselves to just shoot it out from there. Yes, they lost a lot of casualties doing that.
Yeah, they're falling back.
But they were also really holding the Union up and taking a lot of tickets off them. Here's the thing, though. Union looks like they really want to try and charge out and kick them all the way back to the fence line. I think that's a really big problem for Union, that tendency, because you know what happened last time. The CSA sits on the snake fence and shoots straight down the straight fence into them, and that can be really damaging. And you're seeing it again here. Guys in the rocks are blasting into the flank of the Union as they come up. So well played by the CSA guys pulling back, the HD guys, and a couple of PB guys covering that retreat very well.
Yeah, they did get their flag out, so...
But I mean, look at the time and look at the tickets. Union almost down to taking losses already, and we're at 25 minutes. So this is playing exactly into the kind of game that CSA is going to want to have. And CSA now pushing up on their right, Union left again, hoping probably to see more skirmishers come out to be eaten up.
I mean, honestly, if I'm Union here too, I'm not super unhappy. I mean, you're not too far back on tickets,
No.
and you're not. It's not going too fast either. So
CSA artillery is now taking aim at the top of the hill. I saw a couple of fences destroyed up there early, so I imagine that was their work. Let's see if these guns in the field can have anything to say about that Union position. That shot lands in the field. Let's see about the other two. Got 3 guns trained on that position from the field here. That one looked better. That landed. Oh no! It landed just behind the Union line.
yeah,
Probably.
it did kill.
What,
It just knocked a few people down.
0.3, 0.2 of a second long on the fuse, something like that.
Yep, knocked a few people down.
But the direction was certainly very good on that, and the elevation was very good. It just wasn't quite right on the
Oh,
fuse.
this isn't good on the left side. Seems like TNA's kind of WSS is kind of running into the CSA group, PA.
Yeah, and they, they're just too eager for this skirmishing stuff right now, and it's costing them pretty badly here. Because look at this, the 2 of them are trying to combine to charge out this group, but the 2 units combined are less numbers than that one group is, and that's just a really good way to lose a lot of tickets. And CSA's doing the right thing there and just sitting there and letting them come to him and shooting them up. And look, 79th especially, who are coming through the field direction and just standing in the field, they just lost 3-4 guys there, all in skirmishing. And that, Union went from, a quarter of a morale stage left on engaged to being, down on the bottom of engaged.
Yep. Another missile artillery shot slightly
just
above
long again.
behind him.
CSA's moving up there again, though. Going to see that action again pretty soon here, I think.
I mean, that's really all you got to do is just force engagements. They're defending, so if you
And
go
Union,
1-on-1, you're on top.
I'm always torn on this. Union is crouching with this little bit of defilade here. And on the one hand, yes, it's going to mean you're not taking casualties from gunfire. But on the other hand, all it takes is for the artillery to zone it in right one time. And that is a lot of skirmish tickets you've lost.
They're getting closer. That last shot was barely in front of them.
They are zeroing it in slowly but surely. It's not an easy shot, this one, but it's one that I would expect them to start hitting within the next couple rounds here, because it is a pretty common shot for CSA RD as well. AMV pushing forwards again over here. A couple of guys went forwards, and that's actually going to cost them some skirmishing tickets this time, because they ran straight into 9th Corps. And I think what's important to note here as well is, I don't have a problem with smaller units skirmishing or small groups splitting off to skirmish. I actually came up through the 9th Corps skirmishing company. I think there's just a time and a place for it. And when you know there's a much larger regiment like that, you can't be going into their face to try and do it, because it's just a really good way to lose tickets.
But this isn't also that big of a map for skirmishing either.
No. If you're gonna do it, it needs to be from the hay bales in the field, or maybe from a set of rocks. The CSA has rocks that they could skirmish from, but beyond that, it's tough. Union dropping to taking losses there about 30 seconds ago. CSA pushing up to that close range firefight again. We're gonna see the same thing going down here again. Union had the best of it last time. Let's see what happens this time. CSA is also about to hit taking losses.
I mean, this game's still pretty even. I couldn't say there's anybody winning yet.
No, but I think by definition, when the game is very even like this and there's a lot of time left on the clock, I feel like that always gives the advantage to the attackers, because they can choose whenever they feel like it to slow it down and just try and shoot the defenders all the way down. And this is the issue that I was talking about earlier. Union has this position here which has no concealment or cover from down that fence line, and they're getting shot up there, whereas CSA are shooting from these bushes. Yes, they're not going to be stopping bullets, but it does mean that the Union can't get clear aim on them, and so I think the Union is going to be losing those firefights to the CSA most of the time, simply because they don't have any place to hide down there. And that's why I'm talking about pulling back to that snake fence and forcing the CSA to come into a position where you have the cover and advantage in the firefight. CSA RD again just landing a little bit short. Got to make some slight adjustments here. They need to aim a little bit higher. They need to, lengthen the fuse out a little bit, and they'll have it. And again, that is that same gun. It's hit the exact same spot 3 or 4 times. And this is the thing, with the shots that they have from there, I actually think their RD officer is seeing smoke forming, right behind the Union and thinking that it's hitting the Union when in fact it's not quite. And there we go. CSA hit taking losses here. It's very even. I mean, it's very, very even. But again, look at this. TNA and 79th going forwards again, and it's just going to lose them skirmishing tickets again. Like, these guys have got to learn here. 79th can sit behind this fence and shoot at them, and then they'd be on equal footing. The TNA guys could sit back where 9th Corps is, and they'd be on equal footing, but instead they keep going up to the AMV, and every time they do, they lose skirmishing tickets.
So that 9th Corps is about to pop out, though.
Yeah, it's well done there. It's well done there, getting the tickets back off the CSA by baiting them in, but they still lost the initial tickets, and you can afford to do it more as the attackers, as the CSA, than you can as the defenders. And when they pull out into the open like that to get those shots, it's exposing themselves to the rest of the AMV and PA unit. There we go. 79th is now in the position that I would have expected them to be in, which is sitting on the snake fence. And the thing for these guys is there's only 5 of them typically, so they can crouch. They don't need to stay standing, so they can crouch behind the snake fence, and it's not doing any difference to their tickets. It's skirmishing either way, and that gives them a little bit of an advantage in the firefights. I think Union needs to just fight this urge here to get in the CSA's face on this left side, because it's costing them badly right now. And you can see how many tickets are dropping. And they have a good position. On the end of that fence line is a really good position, because you have the fences and you have that bush to cover you. You can't really be seen. You've got great cover. But, they keep popping up along this fence line because they want to be aggressive on the CSA, and they're defenders. They can't afford the aggression, and they're now down half a morale state.
Yeah, it's been barely 2 minutes since they went down.
Yeah, Union has now pulled back into that defilade position that I would have expected them to go to, and they are now covered. Oh, that is a good artillery shot there. Landed maybe a tiny bit short, but I just saw 4 or 5 bodies go down, a lot of knockdowns.
See, look, it takes some time, but eventually it's effective.
IVB now moving up to try and get shots into the CSA. Hopefully they time this volley so that they're not getting shredded as they go. But they definitely lost some casualties
they're getting shredded.
Yeah. The Union can't afford this right now. At this rate, they're going to be breaking within, 3 minutes? Maybe less?
Yeah.
2 minutes probably?
Yeah.
And that just puts the game entirely in the CSA's hand, because at any time they can just go running down there and capping the point. And that's something that the Union really can't afford, because then they're going to have to be coming out and defending the point, and that's just going to drop the tickets even faster. What I'm a little surprised about, maybe they're waiting a little longer to make sure that they get the timing right. I would have expected probably sometime soon the CSA to send a small group to start pre-capping the point, so that as soon as the Union does hit breaking, they can cap it very quickly.
Well, it seems like Union has a group directly on point, just preventing that.
Yeah.
Right now, so. But again, having just 4 guys, like, I get not letting them pre-cap, but having 4 guys just kind of sit out in the open.
I mean, the good thing is when you're crouched behind all these hay bales, it's actually really hard to spot you from up the hill. You can see the gun basically. They are getting shot at by the HD guys up on the hill here, but it's from a distance. I don't think they're gonna really get those shots here. Wow, nice shots from the Union. A couple of Union guys just shot from the cornfield and killed some of these guys on the hill. And CSA is in the position they want to be right now. They're penning the Union back, and the Union on the right side is doing the smart thing. They're pulling back behind the hill. taking the defilade, making sure they don't suffer any casualties. Question is, can they coordinate the whole team to do that? Because right now, they have a group who's sitting on point who can get wiped. They've got a group, the 79th guys, sitting partway up the road, and they're getting shot down. And you got the TNA guys who right now are far enough back that they're not really losing many casualties, but they're still going to lose some. And losing some at this point, if you're trying to, fully pull back as the Union are behind the defilade here, losing some casualties is not an option. You have to lose no casualties.
Yeah, because eventually you'll just get bled dry.
Yeah, but CSA is playing this very well. They're doing exactly what you would expect from a well-coordinated team on hills. They pushed the majority of the team up on the left side. They've taken the hill. They now have the real good position of the game, and they can just afford. They have 14 minutes to get the Union down to breaking. They can afford to sit on this hill and just rain shots down. Yes, they're long range, but they'll get some tickets. Some of them will be skirmishing, and then they go cap the point.
Yep.
And you can see just how close Union is to breaking. I mean, that's, if they lose probably like 30 tickets, they'll be down, something like that.
Yeah, I would say it's a pretty done deal at this point. And you got some CSK guys moving on to point right now.
And these 5th NC guys just barely dodged an artillery shell. It landed about 2 feet in front of their fence line and didn't get any kills somehow. Another shell goes through their line, and that is the same gun as earlier. It landed even further back this time. It landed beyond the end of the cornfield. So fuse timings are a little off on the CSA, but their direction is certainly good for these artillery shots. And that CSA artillery shot that landed there would have been exactly where the 79th skirmishers were standing about a minute or two ago. So they're lucky they moved out of there.
The CSA is beginning to take point here, so...
Yeah. And I'm just kind of waiting over the cornfield right now to see if the CSA artillery can land a major hit so far. So far, I've seen one really, really good hit. We may have missed a couple on top of the hill, but I've seen a lot of very close misses. I'd love to see them just absolutely hammer on the Union line a couple times. I mean, I wouldn't because I'm a Union player, but at the same time, it would be pretty beautiful. If the CSA Arty could land a shell right on the bush on the corner of these snake fences, they would crush the 9th Corps guys in the line there. Yeah, and CSA is doing the right thing here, starting to pre-cap. And I tell you what, they get these 3 guys who are retreating off, the 83rd PBI are retreating off, that might take it for Union.
Any one of those.
I think it's going to take a couple of them. I think they'll need to kill the whole group of them, I think, if they really want it. But Union at this point, the guys behind the hill, I think they need to go now. And this is actually, it's the situation we saw on Progress Mill on Sunday, where there is always a risk for CSA that you cap it early, but when Union is sitting back like this, there isn't that risk because you get to decide how many guys to put on, how many guys to take off.
Yep.
If Union pushed out now, they could force a decision on the CSA, and the CSA might get it wrong.
Maybe at this point, you kind of just have to concede the fact that you're going to hit breaking, and there you go.
Yeah.
So I would expect CSA just to get up and over and hit point at this point.
I agree. USA did a smart thing. They put a couple of guys in the point bush right before that. Yes, it was the guys who took them to breaking, but on the flip side, it also stopped the CSA instantly capping. But actually, I think the CSA here, ruthless from them. I don't think they're going to run onto the cap. I think they're going to stand here and shoot it out and try and break down the Union towards last stand. Yes, send out a couple guys here and there to try and force the Union to come out and play, but then just shoot them down and break them down. And the Union has to come out. They can't sit back anymore because, if they do, the CSA will just cap with no opposition. But if they come out, they're going to start losing tickets again, and then the CSA will win.
Well, and I think where Union's moving out here, I don't think there's good positions. You're literally just getting shot down on.
But I don't know if they
kind
have
of
much.
moving out
I don't know
towards-
if they have all that much choice. They need this to be full cap for them. I'm surprised the CSA were capping that for so long because they only have 3 guys who are on cap here. But
Yeah.
they are now recapping it, Union. And Union at this point, I think the only option for Union here is to fully charge out, hope to wipe the CSA entirely, and then try and hold a position and force the CSA tickets down. But the CSA, I suspect, will send in these AMV and PA and SR guys in behind the Union group on point, shoot them in the back, shoot them from on top of the hill, and it's just going to be a slaughter down here. And you can see how quickly the Union tickets are dropping and how slowly the CSA tickets are dropping.
This is kind of epic to watch, though.
And this is the one thing that is, I guess, a little frustrating for the CSA guns here, because there's been no fight over point all game. They've spent all game aimed in other places, and now they're not pre-aimed and zeroed in on point, and so they're not going to get all that many kills on point. But it doesn't matter. Look at these bodies for the Union on point, just from...
Oh, good hit from already there too.
Yeah,
on point.
yeah. Just from how many shots I mean, they're being shot up from every side. They're very much pincered right now, and I think this is going to be curtains for the Union here, and a very well played game for the CSA. I am surprised a little bit that the HD guys have not moved up and over the fence and are shooting from a little bit closer range, but I suppose it gives them the cover, it makes sure the position's secure. But I mean, look at those tickets. Union only went breaking, what, 2 minutes ago, and they're already halfway through.
They're getting just eviscerated.
They're already halfway through without having had any charges. There's been no melee, and CSA have such crushing positions on them right now that they've shot them through half a morale state here. And the Union just has nowhere to hide, and the CSA is taking full advantage here. I'm a little surprised the SR guys and the AMB guys, well, some of them have, but some of them are still sitting back here. I would have expected them to move up to the road where they've got closer range shots, because at this point, who cares about your own tickets? You're at taking losses. The enemy is almost through breaking. Actually, I would say the Union's closer to last stand than the CSA is to breaking.
Yeah. Yeah,
and after such a close ticket battle for most of the game, this really showcases how well CSA has capitalized on having good positioning here. They took a good position on top of the hill, and they've used it to its full effect, and now they're going down. Now, yeah, the Union has had to pull off point. If they didn't, they were going to go last stand any minute. And I think oh no, the CSA stopped. I thought they were going to go the whole way down. They've stopped, and they're just continuing this shooting match. And I mean, this is really good play from the CSA here. There's an element of risk to it, I suppose, because, if they take too long with it, maybe their time gets a little low, and we've seen Union hang on at last stand on this map before because CSA has to funnel bodies into the point. But
I would say that's possible if they were close to final push.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, their time is not going to shorten at all, because they're not going to hit final push in this game. The only thing is, if they take, let's say if it takes them through to like 3-4 minutes left before they cap it, then there might be some issues.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening. I mean, I see Yuji going last stand here in the next 40 seconds.
I don't know if you've ever had this affect Brutish, but right now I have a large black shadow that appears to be the shadow of my own camera showing up on the on the field.
Yeah, we'd see that in the footage.
Oh yeah. And for Union, I mean, you got to know as Union at this point, you're almost certainly not going to win this. I think they should, at this point, you may as well charge out and make it a good fight at the end here, rather than kind of limply going
That might be what they're kind of doing here on the road. Let's see who's going on the road here for
Yeah,
Union.
here they go. They're trying to push that group off the road, at
IVB, yeah, it's IVB. I think 59
Although,
going up the road.
this is also a good way to kick him off point, because you can encircle the point. The issue is CSA, normally I would say this is a great way to kick the CSA off point, but CSA hasn't committed their whole force on point. They still have tons
they're
of guys
doing it right now.
Yeah, here we go. And this is going to be the melee to end the match here. CSA will go breaking here any second. Union will go last stand any second. And CSA is just going to be able to take 6.5 minutes to shoot the Union into last. To shoot the Union.
Let's see if Union even gets people on point. I think they're
I don't think
win
they've
right
got
here.
enough. Yeah, CSA is going to cap it before we even see the melee fully unfold.
Yep, that's it.
Yep, very well played by the CSA there. Brutish, your thoughts?
It's Hills. I mean, definitely with the last update, I think Hills has become more of a CSA map than it was before. It's still winnable from Union, but I think when CSA plays it that well, it's pretty impossible to win. So I would say that just good coordination on CSA's part. They just outplayed Union.
Yeah, I agree. I think early on, it was a very, very even fight. I thought Union did a nice job on top of the hill. I thought the CSA were maybe a little conservative, but once the CSA got aggressive and the Union were forced to pull back, the CSA very much capitalized on those positions. I mean, they had a great position on top of the hill, and they did what we very rarely see the CSA actually do. You know, often we see them take the hill and then just charge everyone onto point, and it turns into a big melee. And then if the CSA loses, the Union gets point back and get their tickets back. But instead, they sat up there and they just trusted in their shooting ability, and they just blasted up the Union there. So great play by the CSA. We will be back shortly with map 2. And we are back for map 2. We have a little bit of Piper's Farm here. Piper's Farm, I think, is probably... I always thought that Hills was one of the more even maps in the game. I think Piper's is also one of the most even maps out there. You know, I never know who is going to win a Piper's game. Unlike a lot of games where you're like, Union should win this or CSA should win this. Piper's can be very variable. And I think often the Union are funneled into kind of two attacking options, both of which kind of suck in my opinion. You know, you either go uphill for a pretty long run into a CSA position, or you cross a wide open field into a CSA position. So I'm interested to see which option the Union goes for.
It looks like CSA is going far left the entire team.
Yeah, and this is what we saw actually on the Battle Line Wednesday Piper's Farm a little while ago. The out of line, the desertion boundaries have been adjusted on this map more recently, and so the CSA can actually make it all the way to the end of this wall now, which means they can run onto this road and get out. Oh my God, get an out of bounds volley, and 79th New York is going to run right into the entire CSA team here. Yep. They've noticed that they're there. They're turning around. The CSA is still loading. The Union is not running away. They do not realize that every single CSA infantryman is in front of them there.
The entire army of Virginia is right in front of them.
There goes 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
You know, this isn't in. The thing is, though, you know, we saw CSA do this a few weeks ago, as I said, but they didn't do it with the whole team. They kept a large amount of the team up on the cannons and so on. Because the interesting thing about this is it gives Union the entire run of the map, and I think in a different time, what this would be is an attempt to force Union into a cap and then overtime it. But you can't overtime it anymore. So this is a really interesting one. I think all it's doing is allowing Union to take up the positions they want, then cap the point, make it a big old fight over the point that brings both sides' tickets down, and then be able to play with the CSA on significantly lower tickets and shoot it out with them.
I don't think there's anything wrong with capturing point this early. Like
I agree. I think, in fact, I think they should, because otherwise the CSA is going to sit on this wall all game long, and that is probably their plan, is just try and cut the time down as much as possible by sitting on this wall. But the Union...
I mean, I would get aggressive and even start holding on the hay bales and kind of on the barn as much as you can, and even take Artie.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no reason not to.
Up on the hay bales, up on the wall, up on this fence line. I mean, right now they have easy shots into the flank of the CSA artillery. They're going to pick up a ton of skirmish tickets there, especially if the CSA guys keep spawning as artillery. I mean, they certainly have no shots right now.
I mean, I think Union's about to just sweep their artillery.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they certainly can't charge them, because if they charge them, they're going to be exposed to all the guns of the CSA. But they can just stand there and shoot them up with basically as good cover as the CSA have.
And I don't think those Artie guys have realized it. I mean, there's still a lot of them just turning their guns towards the cord.
And this is what we often see, unfortunately. There is a small CSA infantry group coming out. Skirmishers, the SR guys are coming out. Looks like they've switched sides to balance over, although that's brought the balance actually to 10 in favor of the CSA. Maybe they were brought over last game, I'm not sure. But this is what you often see, unfortunately, that artillery and infantry are just not coordinating together. The artillery is clearly not aware of the plan here, because they're still aiming their guns down at the stone wall and standing out there getting shot by the Union on their flank. which is, you know, it's just a shame. And they could coordinate together a lot better than that.
Yeah,
Those 79th New York guys have been almost wiped, but they're returning back to the position, which I'm not sure about. I mean, they're not taking a ton of fire there anymore. The CSA is now firing mostly at the Union. Union is going to get point immediately, and they're going to try.
Yeah, if I'm Union here, I would call for everybody on the tier to be on point right now.
You've actually got the SR guys actually went into the barn for a little bit, but I think they've been killed.
So you have another group kind of moving down the road, CSA group. Let's see, that's HD moving towards the barn as well.
Yeah, I think
you have Knife Corps. I think you have Knife Corps looking at them as well. IVB's looking. Yeah, Knife Corps looking at the flank as well.
Yeah, I suspect we will see CSA go all the way around to the south rather than crossing that wide open field into Union guns.
Well, how far north can they get? Where's out of bounds for them north?
So they can't go onto the road. They can't go onto the Union road. So they can get to the
Okay.
end of that stone wall. What I was saying is I think they'll go round back by their spawn to get across. You know, they have a little bit more cover that way.
Now, could they sweep through the court? Is the court out of bounds, or is that game for them?
That's out of bounds. They can make it almost
Okay.
to the corn, but then they're out of bounds in the corn. So we've seen them do desertion charges into the corn before, but not super often. Yeah, you're starting to get some CSA guys closing in on them. They've got the rocks. They have a group on the barn right now. They'll probably try and swing round from both sides of the barn at once to pincer the Union. But I think the Union's doing a smart thing here. They're not getting tunnel visioned just across. IVB, actually, I just heard call out that they're coming from the left. They know that they're on the other side of the barn.
Yeah, IVB's the leftmost flank, and you have TNA kind of mixing into the hay bales, and you have Knife Corps the straight rail point.
Yeah, here comes HD closing in on those Union positions slowly but surely. Most of the CSA still has not gone over this wall though. Most of them are still sitting there.
Yeah, PA's moving out down the road, but it seems like HL just kind of hanging on the stone wall still.
79th New York are sitting in the corner of this fence line trying to shoot into the flank of the CSA guys, but they're gone now. CSA have gone. They're moving steadily further down the road, and it looks like what I was saying, they're moving back towards the south to try and get a little bit out of the line of Union fire. One small Union group, the 59th New York, are charging out the CSA artillery guys. We'll see if CSA infantry responds to them in time. I don't think they will. They're all crossing the field right now. So 59th does successfully take the guns. They shouldn't stay there, though, because that's a very good spot to get points.
Definitely not stay there. I mean, I say they should have went a little farther and maybe hit these rocks where HD skirmishers are hanging out at.
They're now returning back towards point. And this is really good for Union right now. It's 39 minutes. Both teams are going to go significantly down on tickets during this charge that inevitably is going to come, and then they'll be able to play from 39 minutes with both sides engaged rather than battle.
You have a group. You have HC flanking around the Union, but it seems like we have a group shadowing them in the orchard.
Yeah, IVB spots them. They're shadowing them. They need to be careful though, because there's not that many guys who are flanking all the way around, and there are a lot more guys on the other side of the barn right now.
Looks like we have Union guys taking over the CSA artillery in the orchard as well.
Yeah, that's a classic move. CSA's coming in now. They're coming up into the little courtyard in front of the barn, volleying at Union. I wouldn't expect them to get too many kills because there is a stone wall there. There are hay bales there, but they are starting to.
Yeah, Union shifted perfectly. Union shifted perfectly to this movement. HD's still going way further east though, or that straight rail on the other side of the orchard.
So this is the. I think it's their skirmish group. I see a Palmetto sharpshooters guy, a couple of those guys, a couple of others as well, but I suspect they'll stand here and just try and shoot into the flank and be a nuisance to try and draw a larger force off to the side, which is working right now, you gotta say, because IVB shifted a lot of guys off that way.
They're not really doing anything with it right now. They're just kind of popping around the barn. Oh, they're moving out from the barn now, hit the stone wall.
Yeah. Union needs to respond to this. They can't let them take the stone wall. If they take the stone wall, it's going to be really tough for them.
Guys,
and this is the problem with this position for Union, is because you're in desertion if you go around the barn, you kind of lose a little bit of reaction time. You have to be able to react very, very quickly to moves from both directions. The CSA can just run around either side, and you don't know until they peek around the barn that they're there.
But I mean, look at the morale states. CSA's further down. Union's winning the morale, and the further that clock ticks, it's better. I mean, Union's doing exactly what they want.
And CSA, actually were a lot further behind the morale earlier, though. They have slowly closed back in on morale. 59th New York is going back out. I think this is a mistake this time, though, because HD has a fair number of infantry there. I would say as many as 59th has, and I think that's going to wipe 59th.
I think IVB just pushed this HD group on the other side of the orchard out as well, back to their spawn.
59th makes it in just fine. Yeah, they're going to wipe this group. And no one's countercharging them. In fact, there's a CSA group moving back to the wall right now.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot of out-of-line tickets and skirmishing they just got.
And this is what we were talking about. By the time the CSA cap point back, you know, right now they've got 14 minutes. I don't see them getting Union to last stand in 14 minutes. By the time they get point back, they're going to be in engaged, and Union will be engaged too, so they'll stay at engaged.
Yeah, Union's in firm control of this game right now.
Yeah. And Union now is using this ridgeline very well, and they can pull back off the ridgeline to reload if they want to, although right now they're just using the caissons for cover. But having that ridgeline is really helpful, and it's what the Union normally has to face up against when they're the ones attacking. And this is what I'm talking about. CSA jumps out of the barn, they're at point-blank range immediately. There is no reaction time for the Union. Nice move from the CSA. They need support, though. HL went in, and the rest of the team did not support them, and so HL, I think, is going to get kicked off of there. And this is actually exactly what Union want. Yeah, this is exactly what Union want. It's going to probably pretty soon they'll go down to engaged, and then when CSA recaps, they'll be engaged too. But look how many guys MB has pulled all the way back to the wall with a couple of... no, just the flag is HD. MB has pulled all the way back to the wall just to deal with the 79th New York. And that is a great example of what skirmishing can do for you. They had 5 guys on that wall, and they drew an entire unit over there to deal with them.
We have a group charging into the orchard, about to wipe Union artillery, HD.
Oh, yeah. No infantry's over there right now. Couple of them Midwest Brigade guys. We'll see if
they better not overextend themselves, though. If they overextend themselves, that's a lot of tickets card.
They're still going. But Union has not turned. This is what I'm saying. The Ardy guys aren't in coordination, I don't think, with the infantry, and so the Union infantry has not even realized that their Ardy's just been charged. Look at this. They're still looking the other way. Like 3 guys.
Yeah, no one's turned around.
There we go. TNA have moved a couple guys in there to clear them off, but only 4 against a group of 4 defenders. They might not even take that back. Now a couple of IVB guys are going as well, and that should clear it up.
I mean, still, overextend yourself. You lost every single person in that charge. I don't think that was positive for your tickets at all.
Yeah, I suppose you'd be looking at it and saying that they're the attackers right now. They'll get a boost in tickets when they recap the point, if they recap the point.
Exactly.
And look at this. This is great. MB move back off the wall. 79th New York reoccupy the wall and start shooting into their back again.
And we have a CSA group charging in. We got a little bit of a melee going down between PA and who is this? HD, IVB.
And they're doing the right thing right now. They've charged in one smaller group first to draw the attention, and now a much larger group is coming in, both around the barn and from their spawn. I think this is going to be the end of the Union presence here. I would hope that the Union has a couple of guns pre-aimed on the barn and on point, and that they can just blast the CSA once they recap it. I mean, that's the ideal, is you don't blast them now, because you know they'll get the tickets back anyway. You blast them once they recap. And look at that ticket drain on both sides. CSA was almost in taking losses there. They will get the point back. They'll go back to halfway through engaged. But now Union is playing the game with 39 minutes and 46 seconds left, with CSA halfway through engaged already. I mean, that is a great way for Union to just be able to slow play this.
Now let's see how they reorganize. Is CSA just going to play the point and play this orchard now, or are they going to readjust and go back to the stone wall and see what happens?
I would make an argument for the stone wall personally. I mean, at this point, if you're halfway through engaged already, you know, they did that pretty quickly. If Union recaps again and you're still at engaged when they do, you'll have, what is it? I think it's 15 minutes to cap the point back. 15 minutes to go from halfway through engaged to last stand is not impossible.
It's a lot harder, though, since you can't overtime it anymore. It's a lot harder.
It's certainly harder, but I feel like they've kind of made their bed in terms of strategy here. Like, I don't think they're going to want to sit out there and risk the tickets, you know, when they're already, you know, down quite a ways.
That's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, they will until they cap. We'll see what they do after they cap. And Union, I'm actually a little surprised. I thought Union might go over and take the wall that CSA was on earlier so that they have a position of strength to charge from. I mean, obviously they have the wall at the bottom of the hill, and that is a position of strength, but...
I mean, I
5th NC charging out. I think this is actually smart from 5th NC. They're going to get their tickets down lower so that CSA gets less of a ticket boost. Or they hit them right after they finish capping, which I think is probably more what's going to happen here, and immediately drop some tickets. But actually, that was a very spread out charge, and actually it's put Union down on tickets immediately instead.
That would have, if that was done like 20 seconds before, it would have been a great idea.
Yeah, 20 seconds before with more of the team going. You know, that was 10 guys of the team. I'd love to see Union Artie hit some shots here. CSA is standing on the point. No Artie has hit them yet. It is a very difficult shot from that range, but...
I don't even know where Union Artie is.
It is way off to the east. Yeah. That shot was a little short of where point is, and CSA now retreating back behind the barn. We'll see what they do here. They're holding guys in the hay bales, and they're holding guys... Yeah, they're going to the Alamo. This looks like it's going to be the typical CSA strategy now. They're going to hold those stone walls and kind of say, do something about it to the Union.
Oh, there's a... MB's completely pushed up on Union's right now on the snake rail.
Yeah,
they're falling back now.
And that's not a bad move if they get away with it. If Union responds and gets shots while they're crossing the open field, then you're going to lose a ton of tickets doing it.
I feel like if I'm Union here, I just force engagements in the orchard, force charges, force melees, and just wither their tickets down as fast as possible.
I mean, what the ideal is here for Union is that their Artie gets good enough hits to destroy the stone wall so that the CSA doesn't have this position of strength to hold. But I can't see it happening because Artie on this map is unreliable at best, and that's not any slight against the Artie guys. It's just a very long shot to make.
Yeah, that is a very tough shot to make.
You know, it would be a lot easier if they managed to retake these guns on the orchard again, but I think that's going to be tough to retake them and give them time to actually get those shots off. And you can see there is 1 or 2 sections of wall that have been destroyed, so clearly an Artie shot or 2 has hit, but you know, you need a shot to blow up right on the wall for it to get that sort of like 5-6 foot area broken.
We have 5th NC moving out to Union's right now, so they might be taking the stone wall on the right.
Take that wall, and they're going to take out this CSA skirmishing group, the HD skirmishers.
Yeah, they haven't noticed that this group is way bigger than them. They've just started to run away.
Yeah, hopefully Union held their shots and can shoot them in the back as they go, because that's going to
be...
But
you have a group moving to the road, beating them.
Yeah. But Huncho got all 3 of those with his pistol there. I don't think they realize how many CSA are moving to meet them as of yet. It's an interesting spot, this, though, because CSA is going up and over, but then they're moving back further down the road. I think they're going to take the snake fence in the field so that they get flanking shots on the Union rather than shooting down the wall.
They moved 2 whole groups for this one group on the left. If I'm Union here, this is what I pounce on Orchard. I mean...
Yeah, but, you know, the Orchard, I think the Orchard is great if the CSA isn't doing what they're doing right now. If the CSA just sits within the stone wall, there's no value to the Orchard because you're fighting against a far stronger position than you have. You know, you're basically shooting at perfectly entrenched men while you're standing out in the open with maybe a little bit of a defilade and some cannons to cover you.
Well, it seems like that's exactly what they're doing. They're moving on the Orchard. At least one group is.
Guys, yeah. They're going to take out that Artie and the skirmishers who are defending it.
Did they move fast enough?
Yeah, they got a good couple of them there. Probably going to kill the last ones who are standing and fighting. This might be enough to get CSA down into taking losses. And Union have, again, established a slight ticket advantage here. It's not big, but it's a slight one. And they have the time here. You know, even if CSA sits way back, in 35 minutes, you've got to think sooner or later they go down to breaking if we shoot them enough.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way you can hide every single man.
Union Infantry, we got 9th Corps, some of 5th NC on this snake rail fence on the right of the stone wall. Looks like they're exchanging shots with this artillery position and probably a little bit with the hay bale as well. They certainly have worse positions. You know, those fences are not as bulletproof as the caissons and the stone wall are. Look at this from 59th New
Union,
York, though.
oh, yeah, Union charging out the artillery position, coming up behind these guys.
Great move, and
They have no clue.
That might actually enable Ninth Corps to get across that field and take the guns with them and to get a larger presence there. I hope they've coordinated this. You know, if they're calling this out right now that they just cleared that position, Ninth Corps could get up and over and take that position with them, and then you have a strong flank on the CSA. But it's not happening right now. They haven't, you know,
No.
they've made an opportunistic move. It was a very good opportunistic move, but it's just them. You know, they're going to get wiped out now.
Yep.
And CSA actually send a lot of guys out. It might give Union some good shots on him. Another group coming from the wall. 5th NC now going for the same thing, and I think that was coordination from the 59th, but I think a little bit late, a little bit slow on the uptake here from the 5th NC guys. They do get into the flank now. Union moving up the orchard as well. Union's kind of advancing all over the field right now.
See how this plays out.
We still
Seems
do
like
have
this
a
group that hit the artillery is wiped out for Union.
Yeah, we still do have a 10-man imbalance towards the CSA. Nothing incredibly major on a server of this side. The good thing about that push from 5th NC, though, it did draw more of the CSA guys out onto that Ardy where they can be shot by the Union, whereas before they were behind hay bales and they were behind rocks and a little further back. So at least they're in a position where they can be shot, and you're seeing those tickets take effect now. They are losing tickets there.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what you want. You know, you don't really need to win any charges decisively here. As long as you do any sort of damage, you're fine.
And CSA has been drawn out of their strategy now. They've pulled their guys off that stone wall because I think they realized that they couldn't quite get everyone to commit to that. And as a result, they've pulled out of the stone wall. And they're now, I think actually the place where they took more casualties was on this, on their right side where they were facing a large group in the orchard. They lost quite a lot of men there. And now they're in a tricky position. It's kind of the reverse of what we saw on Hills. How does CSA play this now? You know, do they make a decision early that they're just gonna turtle up and force the Union to cap the point again and play it like that, or do they try and fight it out in the knowledge that they're already down half a morale state more or less?
It seems like they're trying to fight it out in the orchard. HL just did a rise of value on them, got a few kills, but I think they got a few losses as well.
Yeah, they're taking losses every time they do that, and they can't really afford them right now.
The Ninth Corps just shoot at this group of artillery. I'm not sure how many casualties they're getting, but at least a few.
And I'm busy picking up some gorgeous screenshots here. There's some great fighting going on.
And you got this small Union skirmishing group on this stone wall. 79th just shooting them in their side at the artillery.
Yep. Yep.
At least they were. Now they're pulling back.
CSA hasn't dropped too many more tickets since we said that a little while ago, and I think they're starting to bring down the Union tickets because the Union is a little bit static now, and now the CSA gets to sort of throw some tricks at them while the Union's a little more stationary.
I'm just checking on some bud.
Here goes HL again. They're moving out. They're going all the way around the right side, I think. Going to try and get the flank on those Union guys up at the top.
It's just some amazing fighters. Like, this looks so cool.
Yeah, this is, you know, and we've seen this a bit in the last few games. There's been a little bit more shooting taking place recently. It's been a little less charge heavy in events than I've seen in a little while. You know, we saw it on Progress Mill last week. That was a great shooting match. You know, and I even said it. Oh, I don't know where that shot came from. What artillery was that hit them?
Hit who?
The Union on top of the hill got hit by an Ardy shot. The Tracer made it look like it was coming from CSA spawn, but they don't have guns there. So I think the Tracer had a little bit of a visual bug there. But what I was saying is, you know, I was saying on Progress Mill when I was playing on Sunday that it was one of the most shooting heavy, actually contested fights, I'd had him more of rights in a long time. And we're seeing it again here, and we saw it on Hills as well, where both teams are using the shooting to a very good degree, rather than just relying on charge, charge, charge.
HL's full back, getting back on the stone wall in the orchard. But
Yeah,
they did
and they're
leave
gonna
a
get
group on the hay
flanking
bales.
shots. Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah.
be pouring shots into the flank. Those are some nice shots they put in there. We can see CSA is close to breaking here. Not a million miles off. What, probably 6-7 minutes until they hit it, I would say. Oh, what is this Union group doing? Oh, it's 59th are going again, and there is a much larger force this time. I don't think they're even going to make it to the line. One of them got a shot off. One of them got a shot off. Couple more coming in now. They're strung out. Here comes 9th. No, sorry, it's 5th NC. 9th Corps does not go. The Sussy guys coordinating a charge together, but they are just heavily, heavily outnumbered there. They needed more of the team to be coming with them there, and as it is, that's going to be 2 groups wiped. But it's one at a time. You know, 59th went in and got wiped. Then 5th went in and got wiped, and now 9th Corps is going to go in, and they'll probably get wiped too because it's just too strung out. But I think what they're doing here, they've got a group starting to pre-cap it. There's a fight on point right now. They're going to try and pre-cap it and hope that this charge brings them down to breaky and they instantly win the game. And it may well, but then again, I think they actually, yeah, they went down on tickets with that. They're at breaking first now. Well done by CSA holding their nerve there and not getting baited out on point. They had a little fight there, but they didn't get too baited out. And I think just poor coordination on the Union behalf. One group at a time got wiped, and that's put them down on tickets. I mean, it's not disastrous by any means. They're down by a tiny bit. They do hit breaking. Yeah, they hit breaking. They're down by a tiny bit. The Union, it shouldn't really matter because now they have 28 minutes to bring the CSA down to last stand.
And they have to play point.
Yeah, and with the way it's been going so far, I would expect them to do that, but I would also expect it to be close on tickets because we've seen that the entire game. It's been very close on tickets, and the CSA and Union tickets have been dropping at more or less the same pace.
Yeah, all you gotta do here if you're Union is to sit back, shoot them in the last stand, and then win the game.
You know, it's moments like these I remember how, you know, sometimes I forget it because I play it so much. This game is fucking gorgeous. You know, I'm sitting behind the CSA artillery position, watching them exchange shots with the Union positions. I mean, it's just crazy. This game looks so good.
I love this game.
And those two groups who kind of converged on the artillery are now pulling out of there. Looks like they kind of came in to deal with that charge, and now they're separating again. Union doing what Union does, sitting down on the stone wall on the edge of the corn, exchanging shots up the hill. I think this can't be the Union's whole strategy though, because if they sit down there, sooner or later what's going to happen is CSA artillery is going to start blasting that stone wall. You're going to lose the cover. You're also shooting against a difficult position to shoot at. You know, you're shooting uphill against an enemy who has trees and stone walls and stuff to sit on. So they can't sit there forever is what I'm trying to say. They do need to move out and you know, get into positions where they can get more effective shots. And you're seeing it here, 59th going all the way around the right back onto that stone wall again.
And you see CSA basically just, if you look at it from a overview, kind of just taking a long line, kind of splitting the map in half at the capture point. They're just trying to keep Union on one side.
Yep, for sure. And you're really kind of funneled into doing that as CSA on this map because, you know, you have such a natural defensive line there with the ridge. You know, you're not going to push in front of that, and likewise, you're not going to go too much behind it, or else you're giving up the ridge to the enemy. So you're kind of pushed into a certain way of playing. But I think CSA has been playing this well. You know, I think it was a little bit odd to take that wall so firmly at the beginning of the game because I think it just gave the Union the tools to be up on tickets early. But you know, since then, I think the CSB has been very good. I think this long extended line, kind of from the stone walls on the barn all the way out to the rocks and the stone wall is usually effective.
that one group that moved on the far CSA left kind of drew a lot of numbers left, and when that happened, Union pushed it to the orchard, and now they kind of have a foothold.
Yeah.
And they're kind of forcing CSA into a melee here, which is exactly what you want.
And that's twice they've done the exact same move here, Union. Both times they've pushed a force out that way, they've drawn some CSA out, and then they've immediately pushed up the hills.
CSA's countercharger.
Yeah, it's a fight on point now. It's a fight on point.
And you got this group on the far left who's
and this fight is favoring the Union for sure. This is exactly what they're going to want at this stage. They're going to want to be in a melee, making the CSA fight up close and personal.
Yep.
And Union is winning that initial charge. I think they'll lose once the reinforcements come in for the CSA, but they've wiped that initial group for sure, and they're still going.
Yeah, Knife Corps down there. Knife Corps and IBB.
Yeah, they're still running through. I think they do need to be a little bit aware and not get too stretched out.
Well, I think this group on the far left needs to get into point 2. I mean, Union can win right here.
Yeah, but instead, actually, you know, this map is a pretty close one on tickets, I tend to find, and we're seeing it again here. Union wiped a CSA group and then got wiped in return. Typically, on an attacking map, you would often see that means the Union wins on tickets overall, but actually, I think they're going to lose on tickets overall.
And then TNA's charging in. This group on the left's charging in, all piecemeal. They're not together as a team. They're
CSA charges back in. TNA now charging back in. CSA now goes down on tickets. They briefly went up. Now they're going down. I think they're going to hit last stand within the next few moments here. And Union, if I was Union
CSA's pushed it to the core field. There's a group trying to beat this Union group at the core field.
Very bold. And the Union guys arriving there don't have their kits. They don't have kits. CSA hit last stand. Yeah, I think what Union need to do actually is be really conservative now. Stay out of final push for as long as possible and kill as many CSA as you can before hitting final push. Shoot it out with them. And what was nice for the CSA there, they got all their casualties back from that charge with the last stand respawns. But what's nice for the Union is the respawns came after a charge when everyone was resetting anyway, so they're still going to get the chance to shoot everyone. And CSA's charging, and this is really bold from them. They're going to lose a lot of tickets doing it.
It's kind of what you have to do. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chance. You know, if they can wipe them, they'll go final push, and you'll be able to hold the stone wall and prevent them charging you. But on the flip side, you're going to lose so many guys doing it out of your last stand.
This would be a hell of a good time for Union Artillery to get a good shot.
2 minutes and 10 seconds. And CSA have fully taken the wall. Union needs to be aware of this. They need to be communicating about this. Because if they just... What's going to happen here? If Union runs into point, as they are, streaming in like they usually do, just like everyone get to the wall and then regroup, they're going to get killed one at a time and they're never going to take the point back. They need to regroup, go round the flank, and charge to point rather than fighting on the wall.
You do have a group charging point right now from Union, a group of about 10 guys. Is that enough to start capturing?
And some guys from the right have taken the artillery as well. It's at least going to force the
Union's
CSA to
taking
turn
point
around.
now. Yeah, CSA's got to have to turn around here.
But I don't think they'll send everyone. Yeah, they're only sending a few. This is really tough for Union. I don't know how I would play this if I was Union at this point. I think they're still going bayonets and go, but they're just going to get shot up while they come in.
They're not even going to make it. Oh God.
This 50, I believe it's 59th. No, it's 79th and some of 59th on the Union right. Now coming in from the artillery position, they're going to be behind the CSA. They'll pick up some kills, but the CSA has a huge line on that wall, and I don't know that Union's going to break that.
They're not. I don't think they're going to get through.
They don't have the time because the final push timer dropped them so low to 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and now they're at 50 seconds, and they have to try and break this mega line. The one thing they've got going for them is that Union group on top of the hill is capturing the point. CSA has to deal with them eventually, and that's going to take resources away from the wall. We may see an overtime happen here. It won't be an infinite overtime. We know that it will go straight to CSA if they stop capping, but Union now is sending some guys around the flank. They're sending some guys round the fence.
I don't think Union has enough time.
It's too late. I think you're right.
I think CSA is going to pull this out.
CSA is just trying to hold them up at the wall. They're not even trying to capture the point. They're just trying to hold them up at the wall. It doesn't matter if all your guys die, as long as you stop them reaching the point. Union now gets through. Union's sending some guys through. Will it start capping it? They briefly capped. Briefly started. What's going to happen here? I mean, this is
so
inches.
Close.
More guys running on for Union. They need to start capping now, though. If they don't start capping, no overtime.
No, wow. What an amazing win by CSA there.
Yeah, that was as close as I've seen it. I mean, that was a really, really inspired play from CSA pushing down to the wall. I wasn't sure about it. If Union reinforcements had arrived there first, that would have been brutal for CSA. It would have been a disastrous loss. But as it was, that was a stroke of genius. They got there, the Union ran in with nothing and go, and the CSA just shredded them and stopped them ever reaching the point. Great play from them. Your thoughts, Brutish?
And exactly what you said. I think CSA just played that perfectly at the end, and I think that was just a wonderful game for both sides.
Yeah, and I think Union played very well through the mid game and through the early game, but they got a little uncoordinated at the end, and I think they were a little uncoordinated throughout at times, and it cost them in the end.
Yeah, a lot of charges. A lot of charges there at the end that were very not coordinated well.
Yeah. All right, so that is it for us for this evening. Great 2-0 from CSA in the end. Very well played by both teams. I think the CSA really played beautifully on Hills and were given a hell of a fight on Pipers. But that's it from us. We will see you next time.